Presidents definitely have some judicial responsibilities as well. One of the primary judicial responsibilities of a president is to appoint any sort of like federal judges to fill vacancies within our federal court system. So obviously, that the picture on the left is President Trump as he nominated Amy Coney Barrett, who filled Ruth Bader Ginsburg's sort of like vacancy on the Supreme Court. And as you know, President Trump made three sort of appointments to fill vacancies on the Supreme Court, which is virtually unprecedented. Since obviously Supreme Court judges and most federal judges serve like life terms. He first nominated Neil Gorsuch, then Brett Kavanaugh, and then recently Amy Coney Barrett. But it's not just the Supreme Court that's nominated by the president. It's all these other levels of the federal courts too, where vacancies are much more commonly occurring. Whether it's the 13 sort of like U.S. federal appeals courts scattered throughout the country, or the 94 various U.S. district courts that are going to hear like the federal cases first. All of these judges are appointed by the president when there are vacancies. So it's a pretty awesome power the president has to sort of like shape the judicial system when these vacancies occur. And obviously the Senate is responsible for approving the appointments, but nonetheless, it's the president that actually appoints the individuals to fill these vacancies. The president also has the ability to serve as like a check on the judicial branch. So, for example, presidents possess the power of pardons and commutations. A pardon is when the president has the ability to completely forgive someone that has been accused or convicted of a federal crime. So this is complete forgiveness that can be offered by the president. And there's really no explanation that a president really needs to give, nor is there really a check on this power. The president has the ability to sort of forgive any sort of individual that he may feel was wrongly convicted. It's more common today for presidents to grant what are called commutations. This is when the president is not offering forgiveness to a convicted individual, but instead is reducing their sentence. So you may feel like the person legitimately did the crime that they were convicted of doing, but whatever sentence the court gave that individual was too harsh for the crime committed. So you're sort of reducing the sentence. The court gave a 25-year sentence. The president has the ability to reduce it to 10. So, and this could either be at the beginning of the sentence or like you've been in jail for 10 years and the president decides to commute your sentence, meaning he releases you at that point. Again, he's not offering forgiveness. He's just reducing the length of your sentence. The Department of Justice actually keeps track of all the president's pardons and commutations. And if you click in, you can actually see, I'll click in on President Obama to look at his commutations. And it basically gives you a list of the name of the individual, what they were originally sort of convicted of, and then sort of like what their original sentence was, and then sort of what the sort of reduction in the sentence was. And I mean, you can see President Obama's list of commutations is pretty extensive. And as I scroll through, just on this page, most of President Obama's commutations all sort of had a common theme. He was very much opposed to what are referred to as mandatory minimums. These are laws that were passed by Congress that established like sentencing guidelines that if you were sort of stopped with a minimum amount of drug or drug paraphernalia on you, there was a mandatory amount of years you had to be sentenced for. And in the eyes of many, including President Obama, his argument was that these mandatory minimums were too punitive, that the punishment was too severe for the crime that essentially they were committing. So oftentimes throughout his presidency, President Obama expressed this concern by sort of issuing commutations to people he felt like were unfairly impacted by these mandatory minimum sentences. So these are some of the judicial powers the president possesses.